It's like, oh, it's it's in the center. It's
Hey guys, I'm Vlad with The Verge, and we're taking a look at the brand new MacBook Pro, which has this special feature of the new Touch Bar, which is the big highlight of the new redesign. And you can see it here in the silver and the brand new space grey color option. There's also an entry-level model which retains the old physical keys if you attach to those.
You played around all the applications.
And you go to the brand new touch
customizing thing,
which accepts taps and gestures.
Finder.
And we're here to take your questions about these new laptops. There's plenty to talk about, but tell us what you're interested in. How much is it? How much is it? Okay, well this is, we're on the perfect page right here. So it starts at $14.99 for this model, which is the one without the touch bar. And then you have $17.99 for this model with the touch bar, and then $23.99 for the 15-inch model, which you can see over there on the right side.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
So how do we like the keyboard?
The keyboard, well that's a good point. It has the new butterfly mechanism keyboard, which is very little travel. This is very much like the one on the MacBook, very thin MacBook. I've been using a MacBook Air myself, and for me this is too little travel frankly. But it's the second generation of the butterfly mechanism, and my colleague Dieter Bohn has been using this a lot on the MacBook, and he's a huge fan of it. So I'll take his word for it. I think you kind of have to spend time with it, get used to it. But let's actually take a look around the size of it, because this is pretty cool. They have not one, not two, but four in fact, USB-C / Thunderbolt 3 ports. So these replace every other input on the laptop, including charging. You can charge from any one of these ports. The bummer on this is that there is no more SD card slots, and I am going to miss that. Every time I take photos, I put them on an SD card slot on my camera, and I want to get them into my laptop, so now I'm going to need an adapter. Another thing you might need an adapter or an extra cable for is if you want to connect your phone to this, because Apple doesn't provide a Lightning to USB-C cable in the box. But at least there's a headphone jack on this, unlike the iPhone. Again, just looking at the sides, this is a much thinner, much lighter laptop than previously. This weighs 3 pounds, the 13-inch. The 15-inch version weighs 4 pounds. I mean, this is very much like a MacBook Air. Again, I'm a MacBook Air user myself.
Yeah, one of the questions is how is it compared to the MacBook Air?
Right, so let's look at this one. This is the MacBook Air replacement. So that's the $14.99 option. The keyboard is different. The keyboard will be the thing that you have to adapt to the most. That's how I feel. You will have to adapt to the lack of an SD card slot. And again, this entry-level model only has the 2 ports here on the left side, USB-C / Thunderbolt 3. But you know, the absolute biggest difference is the display. Okay, Apple is not making a huge deal out of this in its promotions and in its marketing, but this display is just terrific. Compared to the MacBook Air, it just destroys it. Like, that's been the biggest weakness of the MacBook Air, and this thing is just so much better. I mean, Apple says it has a 67% better color gamut. It has, in fact, in terms of color gamut, it's the same as on the iPhone 7. So it supports the exact same wider color gamut in the iPhone 7. But actually, let's go to the touch bar. I'm sure you guys are curious about this. So this is very much like a touch screen. You can use it right here to scroll through your photos. This is the integration with the Photos app. And if you want to edit the photo, you just jump in here, tap the edit button, and you can see the photo on top, and then all your controls essentially are transformed down to here. So you can crop, if you like, you can rotate the image, you can be done with it, you can favorite an image right from the touch bar, whatever you want to do.
How about availability while you go through the touch bar?
Availability, right, so the one without the touch bar is available right away. And the one with the touch bar you can pre-order now, but it ships in 2 to 3 weeks, which is kind of the big letdown because this is the really exciting highlight thing that I want to look at. Just to show here, so you still have an escape key. That has not disappeared. There is still an escape key to this. And then you have over here on the right side, you can customize these keys. So these are just your most used shortcuts, and then you tap the little arrow, and then you get the usual controls. So it isn't that unfamiliar. It is still quite close to what you used to have. You just have extra flexibility now, extra integration into apps. One of the things we can show is
how's the battery life?
the battery life. That was a question that I had for Apple. They said that it's the same as previously, but let's look at the estimation here. So it's promising 10 hours of battery remaining with, I don't know, something like 80% battery, 90% battery left, which is pretty close to what Apple promising as well, 10 hours of battery. I think this would be good. My early indications are, I've seen it promise like 12, 15 hours of battery. So it looks promising. Now, this is a customization menu where you can just essentially drag things down onto the touch bar. So one of the cool ones is, if you always want to make a new tab in Finder, you can just add that.
You can go
Is this
right
OLED?
here. You have a nice little slider.
You
So
can
you can go
share a
back
bit.
or
I believe that it is, yes. It very much behaves like a mobile touchscreen. Super familiar. It's kind of like integrating a little strip of the iPhone into this.
you made a mistake, and that's very nifty when you.
If we get to here, right, so I don't use Siri, so you can just kind of drag Siri away using the mouse.
The Photos app.
Drag Siri away, and you can do something like
But we have
a play pause control for your music,
a lot of
and
different, not just those.
let's see,
So
screen lock. So screen lock is something that I would use a lot, so I can sit down with that. Leave it on,
Cool suggestions on
save it
there.
as
So this is
such.
kind of autocorrect.
That didn't save properly, but whatever. And one thing is this Touch ID integrated right in here. So this is another difference between the entry-level MacBook Pro, which has a power button in the top right corner, and the new one, which has a Touch ID sensor, second generation Touch ID sensor from Apple. The only thing I'll point out though is the touch bar, as you can see, is matte, whereas the Touch ID sensor is quite glossy and quite shiny, so it doesn't appear as integrated as it really should be. It isn't perfectly integrated.
Of course, there is also access to
Is the Touch ID a physical button?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And like I say, it's a slightly different surface. But this is essentially what you're going to unlock and wake your
obviously there are other things.
computer up with all the time.
15-inch one.
How's the
Right, the trackpad, this is the thing, it's kind of like a widescreen trackpad now, it's much larger. Apple says that the only way they could make it this big is because they use Force Touch. It is a Force Touch trackpad, so if you've used one on the current generation of MacBook Pros, this is going to feel familiar. It has the feel of a click without actually clicking,
And a variety of
which is
2-3 weeks. There you go.
quite weird, quite odd. Again, talking about my MacBook Air, which I'm used to with the mechanical touchpad, it feels, the mechanical one still feels a bit better to me, but this is something you can get used to. I feel the same way, like if you think about the iPhone 7 home button
2-3 weeks.
and the way that it feels different now that it's no longer mechanical, that's basically what this is as well. It's integrating pretty much the same technology. Apple says that the reason they made it this big is so you have more space for gestures. So people like designers who do more in here just have more space basically to play around with. Colors. So yeah, these are the only two options: space gray and silver. Space gray is probably going to be the most popular one because it's the new one.
doesn't have the touch bar. So, there's a couple different options. They are rather
So no gold. There's no gold.
15-inch one.
No gold, no rose gold. These are pro laptops. So
Let's show it in an editing program like Final Cut or something.
yeah, GarageBand is actually a good idea.
Does not have the touch bar. It has a metal.
Let's put this one away from that.
So you're going to be paying some money for this.
There's no Mac.
That's right. Auto recharging happens with the USB-C ports also. Here's the thing with you have all these modifications right here, which previously would have taken up part of the screen on top. Now they drop down onto the touchpad. So if you get something playing, you can just cycle through them. But Thank you so much. This is great. Let's see if we can make this detectable.
I did, yes. I'm ready for whatever. I think it's really nice. I'm in the market for a new iPhone. And I really like the touch bar. That's cool.
So a lot of people are asking about, for example, charging your iPhone. Brings us to
That's right.
It's harder on the iPhone. It really feels.
In order to charge your iPhone with this or connect your iPhone to this, you will need a separate cable, USB-C to Lightning, or you will need some.
It's really interesting too
Like I
because
say, Apple
they're
doesn't
sort of
include
putting together
the cable in this box. MacBook Pro 13-inch.
touch and
I don't know where we started.
it's cool.
I think we were this way, but
Let me show you some
Yeah,
other
that one doesn't seem that
applications with the touch
There
bar.
was also a
I've
GarageBand
lost
is very
track of
cool.
which one to have next year.
I think that was.
Okay, this is really cool. This is cool with the
There
calendar.
we go. Yeah, so like there's like a scrubber here for like the levels.
Alright, so you select an event right there,
It's really
then you come down to the touch bar and you can tap on the time. And now the time that the event is set shows up as a little slider here. So if you want to move the event back and forward, I just do this. Cancel. If you want to extend an event, make it longer or make it shorter, again, you just use the touch bar. I mean, this is really where this thing shines because the space that the touch bar occupies would have been occupied by just buttons, which serve only a couple of functions and are mostly not used most of the time. Whereas this is super intuitive. You know, if you do it with the keyboard and touchpad on the laptop, you have to input every part of this. Whereas just using a finger like this, you know, I want a longer meeting, I want a shorter meeting, you just do it like so. And when you're done, you know, you just hit the X and you're done. That is it. No more messing around. Jumping into messages.
Yes, so I'm the mobile and wearable.
Now, not much of an iMessage user, but I understand that people use this quite a lot. So you have all these reactions available right here on the touch bar. So you select the message from the other person, as I'm doing right here, not a whole lot, and then you can just laugh at it.
He has been, but obviously we're trying to get it.
Another thing that you can do
I really
is,
want to connect with you
I
guys,
like,
especially for mobile.
I don't know, apples.
I'm a huge Apple Watch fan.
Should have a suggestion over here.
no, but
So,
it is
I've just typed Apple and it's
definitely a
suggesting
good
the
idea.
emoji
You
for
guys,
Apple.
like, get in
I
touch
can
with
punch
us.
that in, send a message.
I mean, I
If I
know
want to jump into emoji, I can do
Jeremy's
that.
always reaching out, but
And
the person
you got the
who's
most frequently used.
on it,
You tap this little clock icon, you have all the categories. Tap into that again, objects. You can have an iPhone.
like honestly, if
That's it. Processor. The processor. This has the new, not the new actually. This is the 6th generation, Intel 6th generation. I have the spec sheets actually up in this laptop, so you can take a look at them again. In Safari.
I'll let Star know who we were doing.
Right, so that would be Matt Smith. And he's over in Portland.
Alright, so again, the difference is the entry-level MacBook Pro, the one without the touch bar, it has a 2 GHz processor and 256 gigabytes of storage. And then the one with the touch bar, $17.99, that starts with 2.9 gigahertz processor, Intel Core i5,
Reach out, but I'll
and then you have again an option with 2.9 gigahertz Core i5. You have Core i7 options with 15-inch model. Again, just goes up a bit higher. Integrated graphics on these 13-inch models, but you get Radeon discrete graphics on the 15-inch model. So actually, I can pull that up now and just kind of look at the size comparison.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so to summarize price and availability.
Well, we just went through the prices. So availability, this one is available right away. 13-inch MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air replacement, but without the touch bar. That's available right away. You can get it and enjoy your new life. This with a touch bar, I will just mention, using the touch bar for a few minutes, there is there is the urge when you tap here to then move onto the screen and touch that. So it kind of urges you to think like this is a touch screen above it. So I guess it's a matter of developing habits. But yes, availability for this 13-inch new MacBook Pro and the 15-inch MacBook Pro is within 2 to 3 weeks. Bye.